Hello!
Today,
We are going to indicate
A story.
eveline.
James Joyce, 1882-1941, was one of Iceland's most influential and celebrated writers in the 20th century. He was born in Dublin, Iceland, into a middle-class family, and was the eldest of 10 surviving siblings. Joyce was a brilliant student, so he attended the Irish schools of Wolf College and later Beveridge College, before finally landing at University College Dublin. James Joyce's most important works were the short story collection Dubliners, 1914, Ulysses, 1922. Eveline is one of the short stories of Dubliners.
Eveline is a short story written by the Irish writer James Joyce. It was first published in 1904 by the journal Irish Homestead, and later featured in his 1914 collection of short stories Dubliners. The story is about 19-year-old girl Eveline. She sits by her window and waits to leave home. She muses on the aspects of her life that are driving her away. After a long time, when she and her siblings grow up, her mother passed away and her elder brother Ernest did too. Her another brother Harry works at a church. She has fallen in love with a sailor named Frank, who promises to take her to Buenos Aires. Before leaving to meet Frank, she hears the sound of an organ in the outside, which reminds her of a melody that played on organ on the day her mother passed, and the promise of looking after the family. At the dock, where she and Frank are ready to embark on a ship together, Eveline is deeply conflicted and makes a painful decision that not to live with him. However, her face registers no emotion at all.
In the short story Eveline by James Joyce, the author challenges the moral of a young woman torn between design and family obligation. Joyce manipulates the time of reflection as a tool for Eveline to make a life-altering decision of staying in a comfortable atmosphere where she confined and controlled by her father and her past, or to run up to the unknown with a man who loved her and offered her a life of security. One of Joyce's stylish trademarks is the use of a character brief realization of truth and clarity, usually signaling a new direction and understanding of the world. Eveline experienced an epiphany after she remembered her mother's dying words, Dervan Serun, and make the ecstatic resolution to escape to a new life. Although she is unable to follow a new course when the time comes, everyone, especially young people of the age of Eveline, will be excited because they are also in the same period of love as Eveline. Parents should also understand the physiology of their children in the funeral process.
Throughout the plot of Eveline, we can see that Eveline is a girl who is anxious to find happiness. She reminisces memories when she was young, memories of her mother before she left with Frank. She remembers that she worked hard to earn 7 shillings a week, thought she couldn't spend it. She also took care of 2 children and suffered from her father's violence. Frank is not only her husband, but also her signing. She chooses to escape with Frank to save her life. She wants a better life. However, the story shows Eveline's irresolution between stay and leave. If she stays, she will continue to suffer from his father's violence. If she leaves, No one gets her responsibility for balancing her family.
After reading the story at least twice, I think so, or maybe more, I realized that my favorite part is when Evelyn decided to escape. It was the hard choice. I can feel her preoccupation. For me, the way she remembered about her childhood, her promise with her mother, the reasons for leaving home is really, really touching. She thought of her own neighbors. They used to be happy, carefree, and her tranquil hometown. However, the reality is not the same. Her neighbors are immigrants. Her mom is now in heaven. Her family has changed a lot. Evelyn is lonely. If is not happy with her job, she depressed. Therefore, it is her chance to find what is her real happiness. What she lives for, she have to choose, stay or leave. If I were Evelyn, I would be more worried. I'm excited with the moment she stood up in a sudden impulse of terror and decided to escape. It was many special feelings in my heart. I feel quite happy. Also, I'm looking forward to her new journey. I was like, yeah, finally. At the end, she was confused, but I hope she will be fine and her life will be better.
The story was so touching and complicated. Evelyn, who has been through difficulties, desires to find herself happy. But in the end, the ending leads us to the suspicion that Evelyn has a choice, and it is not Frank, her future husband. Numerous thoughts surrounded Evelyn, and she chose to stay, where there were many memories of her childhood, along with her violent father. But what if Evelyn goes with Frank? It was a choice for her happiness, but if told more of her home and her father, it was a difficult decision for Evelyn. Between the violent father, her homeland, and the happiness of her life, Evelyn fulfilled her duty. For me, Evelyn is not wrong. Although she confused, was that wise? She can find out her true happiness with own efforts. It mustn't be Frank. So after reading the story, I felt so touched. I could understand the difficulties that Evelyn had passed. If I was an author, I would be write a full ending for her.